It's late at night in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Michigan. The street is calm, snow lines the sidewalks. Most of the houses are dark as families inside prepare to celebrate the new year. But in the driveway of one of these homes, something terrible is about to happen. A man steps outside his house and walks toward his truck. Suddenly, from the darkness nearby, another man appears. He raises a pistol. 3 shots ring out. The man collapses onto the driveway. Within seconds, the shooter disappears into the night. When police arrive, the victim is already dying. But what investigators soon discover makes this case far more disturbing, because the man who pulled the trigger wasn't a stranger. He was a fellow U.S. soldier, and the person who helped plan the murder was the victim's own wife. The woman at the center of this story is a soldier named Kamiya. When this story begins, Kamiya is about 21 years old and stationed at a military base in Georgia. Like many young soldiers, her life is built around strict schedules, long hours, and the constant pressure that comes with military service. She's married to another soldier named Tyrone. On paper, their relationship looks stable. They're both young, both in the military, both building their future together. But behind the scenes, their marriage is struggling. Kamiya feels unhappy. She believes Tyrone doesn't give her enough attention or affection. The relationship begins to feel distant and frustrating, and eventually, that frustration opens the door for someone else. Around 2017 or 2018, Kamiya meets another soldier in her platoon. His name is Jeremy. Jeremy is around the same age, and like Kamiya, he's adjusting to life in the military. One day, Jeremy needs a ride home. Kamiya offers to drive him. It seems like a harmless favor, but it becomes a routine. Soon, she's giving him rides regularly. Sometimes Jeremy pays for gas. Sometimes he buys her food. They spend more and more time together. At first, nothing inappropriate happens. Both of them are married. They tell themselves they're just friends. But the more time they spend together, the closer they become. And eventually, that friendship crosses a line. In 2018, a major change happens. Kamiya and Tyrone are both deployed to South Korea for a 9-month assignment. Moving to another country together might seem like something that could strengthen their relationship. But instead, it makes things worse. Because there es a coincidencia. Jeremy is also deployed to South Korea. Now the 3 of them are living on the same military base. Kamiya continues spending time with Jeremy, and eventually, the relationship becomes physical. The 2 soldiers begin a secret affair. They sneak around behind Tyrone's back. Jeremy quickly becomes deeply attached to Kamiya. He begins showering her with gifts. He spends money on her. He does everything he can to make her happy. Meanwhile, Tyrone has no idea what's happening. But eventually, Tyrone starts noticing something. He sees that Kamiya spends a lot of time with Jeremy. He doesn't like it. Jeremy already has a reputation on the base. Some people describe him as having a short temper. So Tyrone confronts his wife. He tells her to stay away from Jeremy. Kamiya agrees, but she doesn't mean it. The affair continues. And over time, the relationship between Kamiya and Jeremy becomes more serious. Eventually, Kamiya makes a decision. She doesn't just want an affair. She wants to be with Jeremy permanently. But there's one problem. Her husband, most people in an unhappy marriage might consider divorce. But Kamiya begins thinking about something else entirely. She realizes something important. Tyrone has a life insurance policy worth about $400,000. And she's the beneficiary. If Tyrone were to die, she would receive all that money. At some point, she begins talking about this idea with Jeremy. She tells him how much money she would receive. She talks about all the things she could do with that money. Pay off her house, start a new life. Jeremy listens. Then he says something. You're talking like you want him to die. And that's when Kamiya makes the proposal. If Jeremy kills Tyrone, they could be together, and they would have hundreds of thousands of dollars to start their life. For many people, that idea would be shocking. But Jeremy agrees, and together, they begin planning a murder. The 2 soldiers are careful about how they communicate. They use Snapchat to send messages, because Snapchat messages disappear automatically, or at least, they believe they do. They discuss the plan in detail. How the murder will happen, where it will happen, how they'll avoid getting caught. For months, the plan develops. Eventually, their deployment ends. All three of them return to Georgia. But the plot doesn't stop. If anything, it moves closer to becoming reality. Shortly after returning to the United States, the holidays arrive. Tyrone wants to visit his family, so he and Kamiya travel to Michigan. They stay at Tyrone's father's house. For Tyrone, it's a chance to spend time with family, but for Kamiya, it's an opportunity. She contacts Jeremy. They decide the murder will happen while Tyrone is in Michigan. Jeremy will drive there. If the murder happens far away from their military base, it will be harder for investigators to connect the crime to him, so Jeremy makes the long drive north. Meanwhile, Kamiya continues sending him messages. She updates him about Tyrone's schedule, where he's going, when he's leaving the house, everything. Jeremy begins stalking Tyrone. Jeremy first follows Tyrone to a nightclub. He waits outside with a gun, watching, waiting. But when the moment comes, he can't do it. He loses his nerve. AWOLs. A few days later, he tries again. This time, he hides near Tyrone's father's house. He waits near the trash cans outside. Tyrone eventually comes outside. Jeremy gets close, but again, he can't pull the trigger. This happens several times. Investigators later believe Jeremy backed out around 6 different times. Being a hitman isn't as easy as it sounds. Meanwhile, Kamiya is growing impatient. She wants Tyrone gone, and time is running out. Soon they'll return to Georgia. Jeremy has one last chance. The night chosen for the murder is New Year's Eve. Tyrone is visiting relatives at a family gathering. Kamiya is back at the house. She calls him. She asks him to bring her some food. Tyrone agrees immediately. He's trying to be a good husband. He has no idea what's waiting for him. As soon as Tyrone leaves the gathering, Kamiya sends a message to Jeremy. He's on his way home. Act now. Jeremy moves into position. He waits near the driveway. Tyrone arrives home. He pulls into the driveway. He walks inside and gives the food to his wife. Then he steps back outside. Toward his truck. It's dark, quiet, cold. Then suddenly, Jeremy appears. He raises his gun and fires. 3 shots echo through the night. Tyrone collapses in the driveway. Jeremy runs away. Kamiya calls 911. When police arrive, she appears frantic. She tells them her husband has been shot. Body camera footage later shows her acting hysterical, but investigators soon realize something isn't right. Meanwhile, Jeremy drives all the way back to Georgia. He returns to the military base. At this point, the murder might have gone unsolved, but Jeremy makes a massive mistake. He can't stop talking. He starts telling other soldiers that he was involved in a murder. Some think he's joking. Others aren't so sure. But eventually, multiple soldiers report him to authorities. At the same time, investigators begin interviewing people who knew Tyrone. Some mention rumors about Kamiya and Jeremy, the affair. Now detectives have a possible motive. They start digging deeper. Soon, Jeremy is arrested. Shortly after, Kamiya is arrested as well. When investigators search their phones, they discover something critical. Those Snapchat messages. The ones they thought would disappear. Police are able to recover them. The messages clearly show the two planning the murder, discussing Tyrone's movements, coordinating the attack. The evidence is overwhelming. Eventually, Kamiya confesses. Jeremy decides to accept a plea deal. He admits his role in the murder. The court sentences him to 65 to 90 years in prison. Kamiya refuses a plea deal. Her case goes to trial. The jury finds her guilty. She receives life in prison. 2 soldiers, 2 lives destroyed, all because of an affair and a plan fueled by greed. Tyrone never knew the danger he was in. He trusted his wife. He trusted the people around him, and on New Year's Eve, When she asked him to bring her food, he did exactly what any caring spouse might do. A Kemome. He walked into his own driveway, and that's where his life ended. A murder planned by the two people who should have never betrayed him.